Live.
We're live. All right. Welcome to the webinar. Today we're talking about marketing roles for our company. We're basically looking for a client marketing manager. And my co-founder for Experiment 27, current CEO, Robert Indresh, is on the line as well. And I just figured it'd be fun to go back and forth, talk a little bit about where we are at Experiment 27, kind of what our company culture is like, and be as open as we possibly can about where we need to improve so we can find some really good candidates.
Yeah.
Robert, welcome to the webinar.
Thanks so much. Let's start.
Yeah, for sure. I talk about Robert a lot in these videos, but very often do we get to see him. And last time you guys got to see him was during that video when we went to Boston, where you were wearing this same exact suit, as far as I can tell. Or did you buy a new suit since then?
No, that was another one.
Okay.
I just love the dark blue. It's just I think it suits me well, and whenever I see it, like, I prefer it to black, so that's why they just look similar.
Yeah. You're actually this is interesting. Why do you wear suits? Because like I'm the opposite. Like this is just a black t-shirt. I wear the same stuff every day, basically. Different shirts, but
yeah.
Same thing.
I honestly like how I feel in them, and I really like the sense of style that it gives me. So whenever I wear a suit, number one, I feel like more confident, and I also have this I don't know. So for example, like various times during the day, you go to the bathroom, for example, and you have the mirror there, and whenever I see myself in a suit, I pump myself up, like, yes, come on, let's go, let's do some business. It literally, if I see myself in like pajamas or anything else, then I'm like, well, I'm not really working. I don't really feel I'm working, So whenever I'm in a suit, I just get the sense that, okay, I should be doing something serious right now, I should be delivering value.
Yeah, it's interesting because I'm like the exact opposite. Like I was downtown yesterday in LA, and I was just watching these people, like over where a couple of our clients are actually. I was watching these people like walk around, and every once in a while there's a guy in a suit, and I'm like, that guy's trapped. So it's interesting you see it different like that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're trapped if they're in like a corporate environment in a job they don't like. But I mean, I run X27 and Westron and various other companies. So like from my perspective, I can wear whatever I want, right? Much like you, I decide to wear this because I literally like the sense of style, right? It's not whenever I see someone in a t-shirt or whatever, I just appreciate them for their sense of style. At the same time, if I see someone dressed sharp, and like, you can tell they look very good, and they decided to look great today, that I admire that. It's like, well, yes, you do know how to dress, and so I take towards that, and I follow quite a few influencers, on YouTube, that they keep speaking about what type of shoes you should wear, what type of shirts you should wear, and so on and so forth. So I just get my inspiration from there.
Yeah, 100%. All right, so let's talk about X27. I was at an event last night, and this dude follows me on Instagram, and he says, Alex, I have no idea what you do for work. So I'm assuming there's a decent number of people that have no idea what Experiment 27 is or what we do or anything like that. So I'd love if you would just pitch it. What is X27?
So X27 basically helps other agencies get more business for themselves. So, and the way we do that is through various marketing channels. Our main channel is direct outreach. So we reach out directly to the audience our clients would like to talk with. So we have extensive discovery calls with them in which we agree, okay, what's the minimum budget that you want? What's the type of client you want? What's the type of projects you like, And we keep going back and forth on that, and then we nail down specific niches and sub-niches, and then the exact person we need to speak with. And then we reach out to them with customized emails, we call them, we reach out to them on LinkedIn, whatever we can to get on their radar. And the simple story is that if they're interested or they have any goals in the future on a project similar to what our clients offer, they'll show their interest, and they're already pre-qualified because we don't talk to people that our clients don't want to speak with. So when they come back and say, yeah, let's hop on a call, we already know they're qualified. So we just set up the call with our clients. That's basically what we do. And we also have various other channels, like sometimes we do PPC, we do quite a bit of PR, getting our clients featured on like podcasts, on Inc., sometimes on Forbes, and so on.
Right. And the big thing is finding these enterprise clients that actually add value. So
Yeah.
Robert runs another agency on the side. I'm coming from, that agency over in New York. And the biggest thing that we found when we were hiring these marketing companies. So when I was director of marketing, hiring these marketing companies, we wasted, and Robert was working with me on some of these projects, we wasted an incredible amount of money working with these firms. Yeah. The problem with a lot of marketing companies is you can't really tell unless you hire them whether they're good or not. And that's what we saw from the outside. But over the last 2 years, we're seeing that from the inside as well. It's not like none of these marketing companies go in thinking they're bad either. It's only when you get in there and actually start tweaking with the systems and stuff that you really find out if you're good or not. So that's what we were learning, is a lot of these companies that we hired originally for when I was director of marketing were still in the learning phase. And in a way, we're kind of there too. So one of the hardest things for us so far has been consistency and results. So we'll have some clients that nail it, that basically get a huge ROI, that are booking meetings with these gigantic companies. And then we have these other clients where it seems like it doesn't matter what we do, right? They're just never going to be successful. And that's really what we're trying to fill with this role.
Mm. I agree. So on our end, we really need someone that can have the creative input, and the most important part is to have it consistently and also check up on it. Because both me and you, Alex, we can, if we stay, and we discussed this previously, if we would stay 40 hours a week just working on one client, we'd break through the roof, in 4 weeks or maybe even less. The thing is that when you work with other people, you need to consistently check up on the team and make sure they're actually doing and implementing and are consistent, and that every single week tweak that. So we're basically looking for someone that has already done this. We don't want people on trial. We pay real salaries, and as a result of that, that comes from our clients. We don't want to mess with their money more than we're already experimenting with it, right?
Yeah, 100%. So that brings us to a really good point, which is kind of the management style at X27. Because right now I'm running the outreach team. Robert, you run basically everything else. And I know when I'm doing one-on-ones with the outreach team, and I'll probably be pretty involved with this marketing manager as well as he comes in. It'll be like weekly one-on-ones. We go through it. But then there's also this whole nother layer, which this marketing manager is going to take over, which is checking up and seeing and making sure that people are actually doing what we say they're needing to do. So for instance, I was on a call yesterday with one of our outreach managers. And one of the things that I'm consistently telling them is they have to write custom first lines for these emails. And it's interesting because when I ask them to do it, they'll do it. But then when I look in the inbox, if I don't check for 1 or 2 days, it won't be done. They'll be sending generic emails again. And it's stuff like that it creeps up, and it adds up over time, and it leads to those inconsistent results.
Yeah, and we've had discussions about this in the past. Alex, for everyone watching, Alex has never been the managerial type. So in the past,
I consider myself laissez-faire.
In the past, we would agree on the strategy. I would say, okay, this is what we're gonna do. And then what I would do from my end is I would literally tell everyone and make sure everyone knows in writing and in one-on-ones and so on, this is what you need to do. And then two or 3 weeks later or 2 months later, Alex, why are we not doing that? And I don't know. Everyone agreed verbally and in writing that we're going to do that. And we followed up various times. It's just for some reason, if we don't follow up every single, or maybe not every single week, but every other week on everything that needs to be done, for some reason people stop doing it. And I don't understand why, because whenever we do it, we see results automatically. We just sent for a client the other day 50 emails, and from 50 emails we got 3 leads.
Yeah, those are leads with huge companies.
Yes, exactly.
People that are a lot of our clients, they target billion-dollar brands, which from a learning point of view, if you do end up working with us, whoever the good candidate is in the audience right now, if you do end up working with us, it is a level up, right? We're not booking meetings with small to medium businesses. We're not really even booking meetings with companies that have under, I would even say $10 million in revenue. We're trying to find our clients these $100,000, $200,000, $1 million deals. And that requires going after these large companies. And one of the biggest insights is they're just as easy, if not easier to contact than the smaller companies, but you do need to put in that minimum amount of consistent work to get there.
Yeah. And I mean, when we say minimum, we literally mean that you need to be personal, because at the end of the day, these guys that already are in, you know, the executive VP or VP or director of or whatever, the guys that are in these roles already get a ton of emails. They get 50 to 100 emails every single day. The only way we are going to stand out is to always write custom emails, and we keep doing that, and we keep telling the team to do that. I actually had a call with Austin earlier today, Alex, and we both agreed, yes, that's what we should do, and that's what we keep doing and keep saying. For some reason, every other week, yeah, Austin is head of sales, sorry. And so we agreed on that, but for some reason, every other week, something happens that doesn't get done, whether that's too much work, whether that's we need to send too many emails to make up for numbers or whatever. But we are trying right now to work together with clients and say, look, instead of sending a few hundred emails and getting 5 leads, I'd rather send 50 emails and get 5 leads, but 50 very, very good emails, you know, that make a very good first impression. So we want to take our clients away from numbers in like how many emails we send and things like that, to literal results. To, let's say, what can we do to get this result, you know? So if that's sending 50 custom emails or 200 less custom emails, you know, that depends on the strategy, but we prefer the first one.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, so Christina, who she did book a coaching call. I remember you. I talked to you a while ago. She asked in the chat, is this a remote job? Actually, yes. Everyone. So Experiment 27, Robert, if you want to fill people in a little bit on how our company's structured, I think that would be helpful.
Of course. So we have a very, very simple org structure. So we have a few VPs, and everyone else is literally the tactician, literally doing the work. So we don't really care where you're from. We do prefer people in the US, just because our clients prefer it when we're local, right? We have, I think, just 2 people that are outside of the US, and that's Santi and myself. I'm in the UK, Santi's in Colombia. Everyone else is in the US, or Bob is right at the border in Canada. So, but very close.
You might want to give their title too. So Santi he does our marketing reviews right now, which that's our most popular initial offer, which is basically going through for a month and coming up with marketing strategies for our actual clients. Which actually the person being hired here is going to help with that as well. And then Bob is a salesman. He runs outreach. Well, he doesn't run outreach. He's underneath Austin. He does outreach for us at X27. So finding us clients. Yeah.
And with regards to that, every single person is or hops on a monthly call, and everyone has a one-on-one with their directs. But again, it doesn't matter where they are. What we care about is the skill set that they have and the culture fit. These are the 2 main things.
Yeah. So what does that look like? So what is a culture fit when it comes to X27?
So for us, one of the most important things is that you need to be independent as a person. As in, no one in X27 will take you by the hand, you know, and just make you do things. And that is why I don't know if we will need to let some people go or not. We'll see in the next few months. But we literally don't want to deal with people anymore that we have to tell them several times, you know, could you please do that? Could you please do that? Me and Alex are both patient. Me maybe a bit more than Alex, but
I'm always telling Robert we got to fire people, and Robert's like, no, we got to find another place for them in the organization.
Yeah. So I'm very. I don't really like what I tend to grow on people, and I like them, and I truly do end up learning about them and their families and who they are and so on. So whenever I think of myself as a CEO, I say, okay, I'm literally responsible for the success of all of my clients and the welfare of all of my employees. So when I think about it that way, I really don't want to fire anyone. I want to make them successful within their role, just how I want our clients to be successful. But if at the end of the day, if the entire company suffers because someone literally doesn't want to do the work that they have to do, you know, themselves without management, then we will literally have to let them go. So
yeah, so that's been some of the toughest fires. So we've got a couple people that they've been working with us 6, 7, 8 months, and all hires. Basically, we're a pretty small company still. you know, that we're not like $1 billion company or anything. We're like, you know, whatever our revenue is, I don't know if I'm supposed to reveal it or not, but we're still like a pretty decent, you know, living company. But that means that every hire that we add to the team, they have to be what Jason Lemkin calls accretive, which might actually be a real word. I don't know. But what that means is each hire has to deliver real value to the company. So we've got some people on our team, and I don't think this will be a shock for them for me saying it, but we have some people on the team that either lose us money or break even every month. And that's just not, like, we can't have that anymore. And I don't know if that's a failure on us as managers so far. I want to take responsibility for it 100%. But I think it also comes down to how our hiring process looked before.
Yeah, agreed.
So what are some mistakes that we've made in the past with hiring?
Well, we've definitely made the mistake of hiring based on referral, and it doesn't always come out well. So one hire we did make on referral that ended up quite well was Jesse. So Letty, both Letty and Jesse are outreach specialists, so they send emails, talk to people on LinkedIn, and so on. So at one point, Letty recommended Jesse, and both of these people are very, very good in their roles, and we're like very, very glad to have them on the team. At the same time, no other referral has ever worked. So whenever someone would refer someone else, and this happened, Alex, you know, like a very specific example, like a year ago, 1.5 years ago, it didn't turn out well. It never turned out well, so we don't do that anymore.
Well, that came down to strategy too. So Robert's talking about, we had 2 sales guys that used to work for X27, and basically we were following Jason Lemkin's strategy, which was bring on 1 sales guy and then bring on a 2nd sales guy. Especially if you're trying to start a new outreach program, you're trying to get clients immediately for your company. You don't want to have just 1 salesperson, because that, like, if they don't work out, it could be a million things. It could be the company, it could be them. So instead of hiring a 2nd salesperson independently, we made the mistake of hiring their recommendation. And then basically they kind of worked as a team as the same person. So we didn't learn we didn't learn what we wanted to learn from that.
Yeah. But we also made 2 or 3 other hires like that we didn't really keep for long because they really weren't good employees. They weren't. I don't want to say they weren't good people, because that might be far off, but they really weren't putting in the work, so it wasn't valuable.
Yeah, so that's one of the hardest things we found also that's one of the hardest things we've also found for remote companies like ours. Nobody is looking over your shoulder. Like, I've gotten some hate comments from our Google Apps for Work review, which is like, they're saying I'm a micromanager or a horrible boss because I'm talking about how it's great to read other people's emails. But it's like, we don't have the time to look in people's inboxes. Like, we don't really have the time to do that. Hopefully this marketing manager will be able to help with that, just from a project management point of view, just looking and seeing that the work's being done. But it's like, there's very little time. There's very little time to manage somebody and hold their hand like that. And there's a certain type of person that can work without that outside pressure. Like, I know at my first startup job, the boss, it was literally a 10-person office, and the boss was here at the back, like in a WeWork or something. The boss was here at the back, and he could see everyone's monitor, and nobody could see his monitor. And that's not an environment that I thrive in. That's not an environment that I don't think many people thrive in that type of environment. And but it's also something to keep in mind, you know, that's also something to keep in mind as a worker. If you need to be handheld, then it's not going to work out at a remote company at all, and not ours either.
But also, if you need to be handheld, what does that say about you? I mean, come on, how old are you? What are we doing here? Are we doing business or just playing a game? You know, so at the end of the day, I feel that, and I feel highly discouraged whenever we tell people to do something and they don't do it. I feel even more discouraged when they don't tell us they don't do it. You know, it just slips through the cracks. Because I just think that you really don't care. You truly don't, because if you would do that. Or if it's too hard, you would ask me, hey, look, I can't do that, or whatever. You don't need to be handheld. At the same time,
basically, if it's hard, they would ask, is probably the biggest thing, because Like if we give you an assignment, or you decide you're doing the marketing strategy, you decide you need to do an assignment, and you find out like halfway through it's completely wrong, that's up to you to ask, but it's also up to us as managers to create that situation where if you do ask, you're not going to get chastised. You're not going to get like yelled at. Neither me or you are really yellers, but it's like I try to I manage mostly on disappointment.
No, I never heard that one before. But yeah, so how I like to do it is I like to give people positive encouragement as much as I can, and whenever they do mistakes, the first question I ask, okay, what do we do now? How do we solve this? What are like some potential solutions, you know, to solve this? How can we maybe make sure this happens less frequently, preferably never in the future, you know? So I tend to have these type of discussions, and we had a customer success manager that I have had, I think, like at least 100 discussions around, you know, or maybe not 100, maybe that's the next step, but quite a few dozen discussions, you know, in which we talked, okay, so this is something that happened last week that shouldn't have happened, or that didn't happen last week and should have, and let's see what we could do. Let's see how we can work better, and so on. So I just tend to manage by, let's say, creative, like, I don't know, pressure or pushing people forward to be better. So.
Yeah, and Robert was doing this to me the other day, because I did kind of get complacent in our one-on-ones. I was in a point, I've talked about this, I think, on Instagram Live before too, where I'm like, you get to a certain level of income with your company or with whatever, and then you can experiment. You can go out there and do stuff. But then Robert was pushing me the other day. He's like, yeah, you're experimenting and stuff, but still at the end of the day, like, you need to have that little bit of anxiety or that little bit of pressure to continue to even want to work on whatever we're doing. And that, even just that little push, like, it worked. Like, it took me, we doubled down basically because of that. Like, I realized I was kind of using that as an excuse, being a little lazier than I should have been. Let's jump into questions really quick. So Coffee and Creativity says, I'm running my own company. I would love to be a part of this. I was wondering if I could apply. Yeah, I mean, I'll let you answer that too, Robert, but Robert runs a company on the side. I have Garblick and a couple other companies that I'm running as well. A few of our guys have agencies that they're running too. So like, we're pretty open to that.
Yeah. So just to give you insight, one of the people we have, again, has their own agency, so another different marketing agency. Another person we have has children, which is another full-time job. Another person that we hire has is already like a grandfather, and they have like children and grandchildren, you know, so they have quite a few things going on there. We have someone else had also like their own side hustle. Nick, actually, and I don't know if you know this, Alex, but Nick has won a gold medal in jiu-jitsu this year. So he practices jiu-jitsu for like 4 hours every single day.
One of our outreach managers.
Yes, exactly. So and I was thrilled when I heard, like, oh my God, a gold medal in a full contact fight. You know, it's like, well, that's very nice. So all of the people we have, we believe in work-life balance, and we believe in doing whatever you want. At the same time, you should not apply if you do not have previous experience in doing this. Again, I want to be very, very clear with this. If you just want to become a marketing person, this just isn't the position for you. You can still apply and tell us, look, I'm not very good at marketing, or I think I am good at marketing, but I don't really have the millions of dollars of revenue to prove it. So here's my CV. Whenever you want, you can hire me. But right now, we're looking for someone that can hop in on Monday and just start taking the team and start helping the team, you know, generate better results, and then keeping track with them and so on.
Right, and we can train you and take you to the next level, but there's a certain amount of pressure that comes with the retainers that we're paid and the type of clients that we work with. Like, we're not like a marketing company that's doing this for like $200 a month. Like, our average client is, I think, $6,000 or $7,000 a month is what they're paying us. So it's like there's a lot of pressure there. It's fun and it'll take you to the next level, but it's also not an entry level position. And we'll talk more about. Go for it.
Sorry, I just want to say our clients typically pay us on average like $100 grand a year. These people mean business. They want to talk with people that know how to do their jobs, right? So if we take on anyone, and they actually ask, so they are very frank. We have weekly or bi-weekly chats with all of them, and anyone that's you, they ask, what's your experience? Who are you? What have you done before? If you can't say, well, I am, I don't know, Mark, I've worked in these past companies, I've generated 20 million, you know, or at least a few million or whatever, you know, I have this resume to show for it, then that will do is it will reduce their trust towards us, and that doesn't help us at all.
Yeah, 100%. All right, more questions. Who's posted me? Somebody said, were they just bad people that you hired? Or
Well,
like were they actually like terrible people?
so they can be bad people, but I tend to give everyone the benefit of the doubt. So
It was 360 Magnetic who asked that.
I I don't consider someone a bad person by default. I always consider everyone has their own universe. And with regards to let's say doing the work or not doing the work, many times, so Alex, as he said, he literally told people, write custom first lines. I told people, write custom first lines. Austin tells people, write custom first lines. And then when we see that a custom first line isn't being written, we're like, they're either dumb or they don't care. One of the two. I'm sure they're not dumb,
And
so they
they're not
don't
dumb,
care.
right? It really is a lot of the time they're not caring. And I think a lot of that's on management. I think it's a lot of it is because if they are being asked about it constantly, like just this week I've been texting with Letitia, one of our outreach managers. I've been texting with Nick. They've been getting back. They've been excited. And Jesse, one of our other outreach managers, what they really wanted to see was management taking an active role in it. And yeah, me and Robert, I think we know that it's not our strength. That's why we need to have somebody in there to do that.
Yeah. So we're both very good. Me and Alex are both very good with strategy, with working with people, with getting solutions, and we got a ton of results during our career. I mean, the quantity of like leads and business we got for ourselves and for others is like, I don't know, I think it's like it's tens of millions either way. So it's tens of millions.
I usually say 100 million is like
100 million.
It might be a little lower than that, but it's probably around there.
Yeah, I'd say 50, whatever, but it depends because you're also running the YouTube channels and like the webinars and so on. So through all of that content that we're putting out, probably, yeah, it's more, but we can't quantify it, you know, because we help people all the time for free on our YouTube channel. So you don't.
That's what I like about this. I like those type of numbers because of that. Like Aaron Ross also says $100 million in leads generated, and anything like that is kind of guess. Like one time, a friend of mine wanted to sell his business, and so I hooked him up with another person who wanted to buy the business, and the business was worth $10 million. So it's like, is that a $10 million lead generated? Does that just increase the number by that much now? But it's also like if I said $10 million in leads generated, you wouldn't know that that's just one account. Like you wouldn't know that that's just one thing.
Yeah, exactly. Well, for us specifically, we got in previous jobs, we got clients for our employers. Then in X27, we got millions worth of contracts for us, and then we got several millions or tens of millions for our clients. So literally those add up to at least like 30 to 50 million over the course of like 4 years or something like that. So we don't expect someone to have as much experience as we do. If you do, that's amazing. Come join us. Compensation will be as like per the experience. But if you have experience in generating revenue as we have, even if it's less, we still want to take you on and like work together to help you go to the next level, as Alex said.
Yeah, 100%. And there are certain people that I've seen that hire and they make people jump through all these hoops. I would say if there's even a chance you think you'd be a good fit, apply, and then we'll sort through it. We'll talk to you. Like we can do it. I would much rather have it that way than somebody opt out. You know, Ramit Sethi, who me and Robert were talking about a little bit before this call, he applied to a bunch of these Stanford grants, or what? Like he got his whole college paid for, and basically he had this really good piece of advice like 5 or 6 years ago. He had his whole Stanford college paid for, and he said that the reason why he was able to do that is most of these grants where they would pay for your entire college had 0 or 1 or 2 applicants, because most people see the requirements list and then they don't apply. So they're basically opting out. So rather than letting this grant tell them they're not good enough, they tell themselves they're not good enough, and then they don't even get a shot.
Yeah, exactly. So that's very what we care about is a very deliberate and concise focus, you know, on generating results. We don't care about likes. We couldn't give a crap less about tweets. You know, it's just not how we work. If you wanna find real solutions, you know, to get people millions of dollars, then yeah, come and we can help you on your route. But at the same time, you need to have a perspective of, it doesn't work if you say it didn't work this week, and then next week we're gonna do more of the same thing and expect different results, you know, or it takes ramp up time. Me and Alex keep saying, if you have the right strategy, it takes a few days to get amazing leads. It takes a few hours, actually. So I actually talked about this with Alex. I tested my outreach skills last week or 2 weeks ago, and I reached out to some big enterprises in the US and the UK with some very specific emails, and those emails, and I'm not bluffing, had a 100% positive reply and book rate. 100%. So all of the people replied and said they want to work with us. So that took me like 2 or 3 hours.
Yeah,
so that's what you do.
Well, it's the time put into it as well.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the stuff we talk about on this YouTube channel, there's basically the 3 variables, right? Are you selling the right thing? Are you selling to the right title? And do you have the right industry that you're targeting? But Robert, also, if you sit down, the way that Robert did it is it's just a personal intro, like, hey, I really love this company and would love if you would just hop on a call with me. It was something like that. So being able to innovate and do that, and not take what we say as gospel, right, or as perfect, and being able to run with your own strategies is extremely important.
Yeah.
Let's let's knock out some quick questions. Christina said, Christina said, so the client marketing manager will oversee these salespeople?
They're not salespeople, so they're marketing people that basically they work with software such as Yesware, and we're subscribed to various platforms where we get our leads from and so on. So what they do is, if email doesn't work, they can call them, or if that doesn't work, they can contact them on LinkedIn and so on. So it's direct outreach. At the same time, that marketing person that we want to hire will also oversee PR. If we do PPC, they will oversee PPC. They don't need to be an expert in all fields, but they need to be creative enough and understand how marketing works. And how marketing works is that you need to understand the client you're reaching out to and the offer you have, and then make the link between those, whether that's through an ad on Facebook or on Google, or that's through an email message. And by the way, these two are very different. You don't say the same thing in an email message as you do on an ad. But if you're good at marketing in general and you can come up with that creative input, then that's what we want, right? And number two, so number one, come up with the creative input every single week, improve. And then number two, make sure people actually do that. So we have the systems in place to help you oversee and help see what everyone's doing. Plus, you can call them at any point in time and so on. So I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, and there's a creativity and mastery that's going to come with it as well. Like Austin he runs a copywriting agency. Our head of sales also runs a copywriting agency. And a lot of his cold emails in the beginning were written like sales pages. And he's great at writing sales pages, but because of that, it took him a second. It took him a while for it to click what an actual cold email would look like. But he does get it now. Like, he's our top sales guy for actual X27 services. So it is something like, if you're almost there, or you feel like you could get there with a little bit of training or a little bit of mentorship. I hate the word mentorship. Yeah. Then, that's also, it's also good. Like, we're happy to help you succeed. Okay. What else do we got? 360 Magnetic Solutions said, tell us, go in, Alex. I think, okay. So that was in response to the, are there bad people question? I think there are definitely bad people that will work with us. I think most of the time when an employee doesn't work out, which I think for us is about a 50%. Like 50% of the people we hire don't work out past 6-7 months, which you could look at that and say it's completely up to chance. And I could say that, or you could optimize and say, hey, there's something that we're doing wrong if we're losing 50% of our employees. I think we fixed a lot of that in the last few months. One-on-ones where we're actually training, where we're acting in a way that lets our employees or lets our contractors give feedback and not feel pressure to do a system that's not going to work. Like, we fixed a lot of that stuff, and I'm hoping our retention rate goes up. But even then, like, I'm still expecting a 50%, whatever that's called, a 50% quit or firing rate. And it's most often that they'll quit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a results-based role. So if you don't get the results that our clients need, as in you don't get the leads and the meetings booked, you'll either be disappointed in yourself and leave yourself, or we'll eventually be too disappointed in you and have to let you go. So one of the two will happen.
Yeah. Okay. So Isaac says you can hire a Costa Rican local talent for about $1,200 a month. Amazon have a few headquarters here, around 3,000 people. The thing is that they went ahead and established a stable company and hired under contract. I agree with that. One of our guys under contract, Santiago, is amazing. The only problem we've run into with him, he's a master marketer. He runs this Spanish language marketing channel that's great. He writes perfect English. The problem that we run into with Santi is English is still his second language. And though he's amazing at it technically, the speed at which he talks, at least I zone out. Robert zones out a little bit when he talks. So it's like, that's fine for us as managers, but you're not client facing at that point. Like, Santi still has to train to get up to that point. Yeah. So that's why we are really trying. That's why Robert said American or somebody in the UK, like somebody that is really English as
or Canada
or Canada. Yeah. So someone like that who can understand our clients. I've also seen, and this might be weird to bring up, but I've also seen there's like a value that American clients put on other Americans.
Yes, there is. It's a very subtle thing called racism. And
yeah, dude. Okay, I don't know if I even told you this. One time, one of our clients that's not a client anymore was in his office, and basically he shook my hand and he was like, you got to get some more Americans here, man. Maybe get like a nice Jewish guy to be our account manager. And this was against one of our account managers who's got like a semi-foreign name. He's an American guy. Yeah. And it's just like that's real. That's a real thing that happened.
Yeah, exactly. To a subtle level, people want or expect to work with other, like, or people of the same nationality. So if we're working in America, in the US, then people expect to have US people or Canadians, and Canadians because they're just like the English neighbors of America, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, but Isaac, I would still say apply, because if you've got the skills, you got the skills, man. Okay, the next one was, keep asking questions, by the way. You guys are doing really good. Mr. Jumper said, who are first employees to hire for a social media marketing agency? You got email me that question. We'll answer that on another webinar. But I would say there's three sides to an agency, right? There's marketing, sales, and production. I would say if you're strong in sales, hire a production guy. If you're strong in production, hire a sales guy. Miss Min Nguyen says, hey, Alex, are you still looking to hit 100,000 subs on YouTube by the end of the year? No. I mean, I feel like I hope it happens, but it's like all I really care about in terms of this YouTube channel is delivering value with the videos. Even if the numbers go down, like as long as we're resonating with people, it's fine. 360 Magnetic said Robert's in Colombia. No, Robert, you're in Sheffield, UK right now.
Yeah, I'm in the UK. Santiago is in Colombia.
Mm-hmm. Robert is from Romania, though. Essential says, hey, Alex and Robert, are you looking to hire beyond just for this position? What are your future goals as well?
We're not looking to hire right now, as we're a lean team and we want to stay that way. We don't have any extra positions. Future goals would be to scale up the number of clients, and then the position we will probably hire for most is outreach specialists. So the outreach specialists, they are the ones that do the direct outreach, and they send the emails, they call people if they don't reply to email, or they message them on LinkedIn and so on. So that's the main role we hire for.
Perfect. So Christina asks again, what does your customer profile look like? So not just the enterprise, do you work with public sector as well? And I think there's two sides to it, because it's what type of clients do we work with, and then like what type of clients is this marketing manager trying to get for our clients?
Yeah, so our clients are other agencies. So we basically have three main types of agencies that we work with. We have software developers, right, that literally develop either simple software like websites and things like that, or complex artificial intelligence, Internet of Things like that. So more complex projects. The second one is ad agencies, so people that do design as their main focus, or let's say marketing for other types of companies. And the third one would be video production. So we're seeing success with all three, but again, it's not about the industry, it's about the specific clients. So some clients literally have like dozens of leads and dozens of meetings and amazing like ROI and returns and whatever. And then we have a couple that literally like it feels like no matter what we do, and we keep trying and trying and trying, it's for some reason we should be like, I don't know, at 50 meetings, but we're just like at 30, right? So we tried our best, contractually, and then we're just at 30 leads instead of 50. And the clients that they want depends on them. So some of our clients want public sector as well, like universities or healthcare, or hospitals, things like that. But other clients want to work with funded startups. Other clients want to work with energy, so companies within the energy sector, like solar panels, gas, things like that. Wind. Other clients specifically want to work with entertainment companies, media companies, publishers, fintech, and so on. So the spectrum is quite broad, like even event organizing companies, so it really depends on their case studies, what they're good at, what they have experience in.
Yeah, and that's part of the thing that's why people pay us for that initial marketing review, because one of the things we do is find out, based on their case studies, what are the right markets to target. And then we also have a few industries that we'll never target again, stuff like medical device or anything really related to healthcare, where a lot of agencies do go because they get inbound leads there. It's very, very tough to break through with cold email there. Yeah. So it's different per client, but it's also not assigned. So like Christina, if you're working on a client, you'll be able to look through their case studies and find out, hey, is this client going to be best served by going after AI? Or is this client going to be best served by going after billion-dollar? Is this client going to be best served by going after billion-dollar brands? Whatever it ends up being. Yeah. It's basically it's a circle that we're trying to put into place. The marketing that we run, especially when it comes to spinning up any good cold email outreach campaign, is very similar to the process someone would go through when they're finding product market fit for their own company. And it's like that for every single service that they offer. So if it's a web design client, and like one of our web design clients, different one another LA one, but a different one than I was talking about. They love to sell websites. So now if they know that the offer is going to be a website, we need to find what industry is going to be a good fit, not just for websites in general, but for this specific type. Let's say they want to charge like 30 grand for their sites. And then what title at those companies are going to be a good fit. That's all hypothesizing. And then it's working with our outreach managers to test all three of those assumptions. And if they're not right, to throw them out, use those learnings, and try to find exactly where that's going to fit.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's actually a good point, because it might change. So even though at the beginning we say, here are three niches we can start with, maybe all of those are going to get us ROI, and generate meetings, or maybe none of those. And then you need to be ready. Okay, what's a sub niche in here, or what's a niche we can pivot to? So for example, if someone works within entertainment, right? Entertainment is basically content, on TV or whatever. Then they can maybe go to publishing, which is content through written text, So maybe they can transition, maybe you can pivot in that direction, or things like that.
Yeah, 100%. And it's going to be up to the hire. It's going to be up to you to know where to go. Yeah, it's not even really knowing where to go. It's basically having the confidence to make a hypothesis, present it to the client like that's the way to go, and then test it in the market, and then also have the confidence to say, hey, I was wrong. That's not what we wanted to do. let's try something else, and do that over and over again. Cold email, and actually a lot of marketing is like running at a brick wall over and over again until you break through. And then like Robert's saying, once you break through, you see the results in a day or two. So it's very easy to tell when something's not working, but it's also very easy to tell when something is working.
Yeah.
360 Magnetic says, do you focus on inbound marketing via lead capture sites, which is more passive, he says, or is cold emailing the bread and butter for everything you do?
Direct outreach is the bread and butter. It's not always email. Sometimes it's something else, but yeah, it's direct outreach.
A lot of agencies will try pay-per-click, and we've tried it in the past, and it's just so tough to get it to work, especially considering cold email and any sort of like LinkedIn outreach, anything like that. Considering that that's cheaper and easier to do, there's really no point to doing pay-per-click unless you're
for us.
Unless you're like, no. So I talked to who did I talk to? I talked to Alex Muir, and him and Ty Lopez run a marketing agency where they only do pay-per-click. And I don't know if they're good or not, but I can assume they're good because they do pay-per-click basically for their own companies. But the problem is pay-per-click for SaaS, like Dr. Muir had with Zeusk, or that he has for Ty Lopez, it's so much different. SaaS or coaching or courses or anything like that, it's so much different than selling a custom website or a custom mobile app. And you can't really get that across, or it's very difficult, at least for us, to get that across using pay-per-click ads. 360 says, I remember your video about using Reddit to advertise. Big waste. And the thing is, all right, it was a waste of like, I think $150 like 2 years ago, right? But that's also the type of experiments you need to be willing to do, right? Like I'll throw $150 at something crazy. There's also a series of YouTube videos where I'm testing like bots for Instagram and like really like black hat stuff that nobody else is talking about, because we are open to trying anything. There's this myth that if you test too much, you'll end up hurting your brand. And a lot of corporations have this issue too. Like, don't show our logo in a certain way, or like, don't present us in a certain way. And that actually leads to a lot of failure for those brands. And that's one reason why small, nimble startups jump these huge companies, because at least for us, like we found the more you're willing to risk, the more reward there is, the bigger the clients are that are willing to follow along.
Yeah.
Okay. So Kareem says, how many touch points does it require for you guys to close a client on average?
To close a client for us or for that? So please, guys, when you ask questions, understand we work with clients and we get our clients' clients. So it's very important to get that. So
I would say for a marketing manager, because basically if somebody's coming on to run our cold email campaigns, let's give them some info. Where are we right now?
Exactly. So if we nail down the niche and the messaging, you know, like the offer, the title, and so on, we literally need to reach out 2, 3, max 4 times to that person. So that's like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and then we already have someone that comes in. In terms of sales, so we have a service that's called outsource sales, in which we also handle the sales side of our client, of the leads we bring our clients. Or if they didn't buy that service, then it's all their responsibility. We're just responsible for getting them the leads, and then they need to have their own sales cycle. So to answer that, it depends on where the lead is in the buying cycle. Because if right now they're already in the RFP or RFQ moment, it might take 2, 3 touch points, right? 1, 2 months, and that's it. It closes. Or if they're not yet, but they say something like, well, we will have an RFP in, I don't know, November, you know, or February next year. Well, then literally you need to keep following up with that and keep being top of mind for that person, even if you send like random educational emails, you know, once a month or once every other month, but it just increases the number of touch points that you need.
I see it as 6 to 12 months from contact to close, especially for a large, let's say it's a cornerstone client that you want to have a small $50,000, $60,000 deal that will eventually turn into like $1 million contract per year with your agency. that kind of deal is going to take a long time to initiate. And actually, most of our clients, I would say even most of our clients don't close a deal for the first like 9 to 12 months.
Yeah.
They see a lot of progress, they see a lot of meetings, they see a lot of leads. But in order to get into a corporation like HBO or like some of these other ones like Paramount Pictures or like Home Depot or like some of these large corporations, it takes a really long time to get through that. So one of the other things that our marketing manager will do, and our account managers do this currently, is helping clients see those small wins on the path to those huge sales. Because we don't play like a 2-month game, right? Some people said, like, we used to sell email outreach month to month, but what we're learning is if you really want to deliver value and you want to get these giant customers for these companies, right? You really want to transform an agency that's maybe they're making 2 million in revenue into something that's making 25 million or 30 million, like really take it to the next level. It requires 1 to 2, even 3 year point of view.
Yeah, exactly. And we notice that the more mature and the more established our clients are, the more they get it, and the less amount of useless pressure they put on us. So we see it right now because we keep getting better and better clients. We see it right now. We're in month 3 with some clients, and we got them like 7 meetings, and they're still like, yeah, that's fine. The meetings we've had were of good quality, and we might actually close one of them. So they see how we're building up the pipeline. They're very happy about it, and they realize that if we continue doing that, 7 will lead to 14, and then they'll have 28 in the pipeline, and so on and so forth. In the meanwhile, they'll be closing deals, so everything we do is going to become self-sustaining. And that, as Alex said, that typically starts happening in month 9, when our service basically starts paying for itself. And then after that, there's no more in-house money on there, because everything we do, right, is bringing much more value to the company than they're investing back into us.
That's actually one of the riskiest things for our clients, one of the hardest things for us to sell, and also one of the riskiest things for every marketing agency, which is if you're good at your job and you're going for high value clients, you're not just there trying to close like whatever's coming in, $200, $300 deals. If you want real high quality deals, it's going to take months, unless you're doing warm intros or something. It's going to take months to close. So yeah, that's been one of the most challenging things, is when a client's paying us monthly, getting them to stick around for the 12 months it'll take to actually see results. Because for a while, it can look like, and if you're taking it from the client's point of view, it can look like they're throwing money in the trash can, right? Until it hits, and then one deal pays for literally the last 9 months of work.
Yeah, exactly. And it has never happened for us that someone stuck around for over 9 or 10 months and they didn't get an ROI. It never happened until now. So
right,
that's very good.
Part of it. And that's why we do, it's very good on our end, but it's also inevitable. When you hire a person, you're not expecting, so back when I was at Dom and Tom, I would say the average salesperson wouldn't close a deal for like 7 months. So that's somebody who's getting a salary, which is normally about, or even lower, which is normally about, or sometimes even higher than the retainer that they're paying for our entire team. That's not showing an ROI for 7, 8, 9 months. So the fact that these clients, so it shouldn't be too hard to transition them into seeing it as an agency, but also from an empathetic point of view, like it does take a lot of trust to get to that.
Yeah. Even like on our end, I remember when we hired like I think it was Austin, and every salespeople we ever hired, it took months, and then we literally had to pay their salary for months until they started closing. And now Austin closes on average 1 to 2 deals every month, right? So that's amazing, but it doesn't happen, right from the offset. So.
Okay, so we got 2 months, so we got 2 minutes left in this webinar. Robert, if you want to direct people to where they should go, if you're applying for this job, what is the next step?
So if you want to apply to this job or refer someone, again, if you do, and we encourage you to, even if you're applying yourself, have other people apply as well, because just because we don't take someone this time doesn't mean we won't take you or anyone else, in the future. We would really like to have the best person or the most competent person in the role, because that's how we can grow, and that's how we can then hire even more people, for the team. So if you want to hire or refer someone, literally you can refer them to Robert at x27marketing.com. You can also include Alex if you want to, but the only thing Alex does is forward all of the emails to me. So you can just literally send it to Robert at x27marketing.com. And
I do right now, yeah. The day-to-day, I'm pretty hands-on when it comes to our employees, like when they need it. But for the most part, Robert is the CEO at Experiment 27. So he's the guy you're going to be working with on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
Okay, let's blast through some other questions really quick, and then we'll end it. So what tools do you use to send cold emails? We still use Yesware, and then for leads, we use Inside View, but we're on the fence about them. So we might move back to ZoomInfo. We might go somewhere else, data.com.
Yeah.
We're kind of up in the air about where we're going to end up there. Min says, are you using AI or automation to filter out positive replies? That was actually an idea for a SaaS app we had, or we're still working on. But no, right now it's all manual. Our people are living in their inboxes and loving it. I hope, I hope they're loving it. Essential Digital Marketing says, I might be bringing one of my clients to you. Well, thank you. We really appreciate it. 360 says, Alex uses Yesware, and you're right. 360 said, you just said 10 exit equals 2 million to 10 million, hashtag Grant Cardone. I bet Grant Cardone kicks himself every time anyone says 10x because it's just not copyrightable. I've seen it ripped off so many times from like a branding point of view. One of my friends on that kind of topic, there's this dude, BJ Fogg, who has this thing called Tiny Habits. And one of my friends created a podcast called Tiny Habits Podcast. Within a week, BJ sent him a cease and desist. So it's like, I haven't seen that from Grant Cardone. I don't know. You gotta defend your trademarks is what I'm saying. I hope he doesn't send me. Hope BJ Fogg doesn't send me a fucking libel suit for that. 360 Magnetic is talking to Christina. He said that's his video about RFPs. Should you bother completing requests for proposals? He said he scored 1 out of 3 times. I agree. By the time, and we talked about this on our last webinar as well. By the time a client gets to the RFP stage, you're too late in the deal cycle to really make a difference. We've won one real RFP, and it turned into a great client for Dom and Tom way back in the day, like 2.5 years ago. But since then, I have not seen it work. There is a company called Tender Scout. I haven't messed with them too much, but I have talked to their CEO, and he specializes in answering RFPs. So maybe it works for him, maybe it doesn't. But again, I haven't worked with them, so I don't know. But that's what their specialty is. If you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel, and email Robert or email me, I put our email addresses also in the comments here. Thanks for watching, and we appreciate all of you.
Thank you so much, guys.
Later.